All right, so today we are doing lesson 4 of Algebra 1, Unit 7. Remember, we're kind of bouncing around in Algebra 1, Unit 7 to make sure everyone's ready for Unit 2. Yesterday we talked about the how to solve quadratics by taking square roots. Today we're going to talk about something called the zero product property. And this is something that you probably knew already. You just didn't know you knew it. It's fairly obvious. Zero product property states if the product of two numbers is zero, then at least one of those numbers must be zero. And if you think about it, it makes sense. If I multiply, if I know that the product of two numbers is zero, the only way that could happen is if one or both of those numbers are zero. So what that means is if a quadratic is in factored form and set equal to zero, then we could set each factor equal to zero and solve for x to actually find the solutions, because we can figure out which values make each of the factors zeros. So with that in mind, let's take a look at the examples. Okay. For each equation, find its solution or solutions. Be prepared to explain your reasoning. So let's open this up. Okay, so for the first one here, we have x times 2x plus 11 equals 0. So again, factored form means that it's written as a product. This is written as x times 2x plus 11. The second one is written as x minus 3 times x plus 11 equals 0. So that's what that means. It's written as a product of factors. So in order to find the solutions, like it says in the lesson notes, okay, we find the solutions by setting each factor equal to 0 and solving for x. So I take this factor here, so 2x plus 11, and set that equal to 0. And then I take also the first factor and set that equal to 0. Well, setting that equal to 0, I already have one of the solutions. So to find the second solution, I'm going to set this equal to 0 and solve for x. So I'm going to start by subtracting 11 from both sides. So I have 2x equals 0 minus 11, so that's negative 11. Okay. And then I'm going to finish it off by dividing both sides by 2. Okay, and let's see, you may need a calculator for this. This is going to be a decimal, but a negative 11 divided by 2 is going to be a negative 5.5, negative 5.5. So negative 11 divided by 2 is negative 5.5. So that is the second solution. Okay? And that is literally it. For the second one here, x minus 3x plus 11, I can do the same thing. So I can take each factor and set each factor equal to 0 and solve for x. So for the first one here, for x minus 3, all I need to do to solve for x is to add 3 to both sides. And I get 0 plus 3, so x equals 3. And the second one, I can once again subtract 11 from both sides, and I get x equals negative 11. Okay. The third one, we have x minus 3 times 2x plus 11 equals 0. Okay, again, I could do the same exact thing. So x minus 3 equals 0, 2x plus 11 equals 0, and solve both of them for x. Okay, so on this one, I'm going to add 3 to both sides. And I'm going to get x equals 0 plus 3. And on this one, it's a two-stepper. I'm going to minus 11 from both sides. So 2x equals 0 minus 11. And then finish it off by dividing both sides by 2. And that's going to give me negative 11 divided by 2. Once again, we saw this up here as negative 5 and a half. Okay. Number 4, the last one, we have x times x plus 3 times 3x minus 4 equals 0. Notice with this one, there are 3 factors. There's x plus 3, and there's 3x minus 4. Truthfully, it doesn't matter how many factors you have. I could have 10 factors listed next to each other, and I can find the answer by simply setting each of the 10 factors equal to 0 and solving for x. In this one, there's only 3. First one's easy. X equals 0. Second one, x plus 3 equals 0, and I'll minus 3 from both sides. Okay, so that's x equals negative 3. Okay. Third one, that's a two-stepper. Okay, so I'm going to first add 4 to both sides. So 3x equals 4, 0 plus 4. And then I'm going to divide both sides by 3. So x equals 4 divided by 3. That's also going to be decimal, so use a calculator. But if you do use a calculator, 4 divided by 3 is 1.3 repeating. So I'm just going to round it to 1.3. Okay, if you want, you could put the little bar over it. That means 1.3 repeating, but you don't have to. You can just leave it as 1.3. One thing I want to make absolutely clear with this, I mean, yes, this is fairly simple, but this trick only works if the equation is set equal to 0. Okay, it only works if the equation is set equal to 0. So for example, let's add another drawing here. So for example, if I had, to go back from before, if I had, say, x minus 3 times 2x minus 11, that was the third example from before, it was 2x plus 11 actually. Okay, now before it was set equal to 0, so I was able to use that trick, set each factor equal to 0 and solve for x. Okay, if this was, say, x minus 3, 2x plus 11 is equal to 10, okay, I could not use that trick. Okay, I would not be able to say x minus 3 equals 10 and 2x plus 11 equals 10. That would not work. Okay, so the important thing to realize is that this trick only works if the equation is set equal to 0. Okay, your cool down tonight, you'll see you have one example, okay, that's similar to the examples that I have done. So you should be able to answer this cool down on your own.